classes as well. Now, the next topic in JavaScript is modules. These are kind of the namespaces used in other languages. So if you have a very large project and the variable names are used in uh, different parts of the project, and the names are the same. So for example, you are working on person, right? And your code has persons of multiple types. So you have student, which is a person, employee, which is a person, faculty, which is a person, guest, which is a person. So all of these classes have the same name, person, right? So in this case, you cannot use the same name if the scope of all the classes or all the variables is the same. So the better way is to divide your code into modules, right? So the module has its own scope. So if you define a variable in one module, you can use the variable of the same name in another module. So if one module has a variable, let's say X, another module can also have the variable X, right? And there would be no conflict in the names. So and another reason of using modules is modularization. So you can modularize your code. It would be like better organized, better managed, and better maintained, right? So in this example, if we have like a function calculate for doing like something, and we have another function calculate for doing something else, we would have a name conflict. So modules were introduced in ES6, JavaScript 2015. And there are like two ways of dealing with modules. One is uh, you define everything in an external script, right? And then you include it. So for example, if we have all of this functionality, we just like cut it, right? So all the script, we just like cut it, put it in a module. We have to specify that the type of the script is module, and we have to specify the source. Let's say we have it like test.js, right? Yeah, arrays.js. So arrays.js, you can use the name JS, you can use the name MJS. If you're working with Node.js, MJS is preferred convention. And MJS also represents that you the script that you are including is basically a module, right? So we create a file arrays.js. We put all our code there, right? So we have this student class and it is doing something. We are fetching elements from the DOM. We are doing things on the DOM and so on, right? And we just save it, right? Now in the source code, what we would need to do is just to specify that the type of the script is module and the source is the source of the file that we have included. So we just save it, we reload it, and it is working as before. So if we like look at the script does not have yeah. So the script has something like WebSocket function refresh CSS. So okay, this is some others. I think this is script introduced by the live code. Yeah, this is the script that we have. So you see, this script does not have any code in itself. So all the code is moved into arrays.js, right? And the thing is, array.js module basically has access to the DOM and it can manipulate the DOM. ठीक है जी, are the things clear so far?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है. Now, what if we want to have a module which we want to use in our HTML file? So, for example, we want to define the student class in arrays.js, right? So the student class is defined in array.js, but rest of the things we want to use in the HTML document, right? So we have put this student class in arrays.js, right? Or rather, better call it student.js. So I would just like cut it, create a new file, student.js, right? And then this file has the student class, right? So this has a student class. Now we want to import the student in our HTML document, and we want to perform the create the object of student and use it. So we cut the rest of the code from array.js and we use it in our HTML file, right? Now the student object is defined in student.js and we want to use it in our HTML file. If we want to use it in our HTML file, we have to use script with type is equal to module. We cannot provide the source here because if we use the source attribute here, then what would happen? None of this code would be executed. So the code does not execute if we use the source attribute. So we cannot use the source attribute. Now, just like in C++, we use include. In JavaScript for importing a module, we use import statement, right? We write import followed by what things do we want to import from this module. So this is the student module and we want to import the student class. We write student and then from and then the path. The path should be relative or absolute. So we can not just write student.js. So we have to use the relative or absolute path, student.js, right? So this would import student from student.js. Within the student.js module, so this has now become a module. We have to export the things that can be used in other places. So if we want to import student in our HTML file, we have to export it here. So we write export student, right? So when we write export student, then this class would be exported, right? And if we have something else like function, maybe display student, right? And it does something, and we do not like we do not uh, we do not export it, then this function cannot be imported. This function cannot be used in the other place, right? So summing it up, we have student.js. We use it as a module. We can have classes, we can have functions, we can have constant, we can have variables in the module. Any kind of code that we can write it in a module. At the end of the module, we write the export statement and write down the things that we want to export out of the module, right? Whatever we export can be imported. Whatever we don't export cannot be imported, right? So if we write export student, then student can be exported, but display student is not exported, cannot be imported. So we write here import student from student.js and it should work fine. So it is now working fine. So now you look at the script tag. It is importing student from student.js and using it within this script tag. Okay, so what else? So for example, if we want to import um, this display student function, we have not exported it, so we cannot import it, right? So we should get an error that this uh, this display student is not available. So whatever we want to import should be exported. Another thing, if you just want to like export one thing, we don't need to like write export statement at the end of the module. We can simply write export class student and this would be exported, right? So if you just like export it, so now uh, this student class is exported. So two ways of exporting things from the module. we can write export at the end of the module, right? Or we can write export with the things that we want to export from the module, right? It can be functions, it can